So imagine this: 5 girls, 1 apartment, New York City. I'm sure that your imagination is roaming wild of this image, so allow me to show you what that life is actually like. My name is Mars Safor, and I'm one of 5 girls living in an apartment in Brooklyn, New York. Now, before I get into the meat of a semester's tale, let's get some logistics out of the way. Each of us attend the University of Rochester in Rochester, New York. We currently have the opportunity to study in New York City through our art department's Art New York program. Honestly, this is my dream semester, and I'm incredibly happy to be here. Other than the Art New York program, we're free to do whatever we want. Now you can insert your wild images from earlier. So yeah, we party, but living together is a lot more than that. I mean, there are 24 hours in a day and 7 days a week, so there's a time and place for everything. In this podcast, I'm going to focus on our lives looking at the big picture. Through interviews, I'm going to give you guys some background on my roommates and I so that you can understand how we got to be where we are today, as well as where we want to be in the future. But why is this important? Well, if you're watching this, I assume that you're a young adult, or maybe even a college student yourself. College is a time of studying, of course, but maybe even more importantly, it's a time of self-discovery. Up until this point in our lives, our parents and families had the biggest influence on us. Whether we choose to give them credit or not, we spent most of our time with them, so their morals and values have been instilled in us. Unless you are one of the few who studied at a boarding school or abroad in high school, college is our first real time away from those who molded us. Now, we're surrounded by thousands of our peers who all come from different backgrounds than our own. Every choice you make, every friend you meet, and every professor you get close to will lend a helping hand in your journey of self-discovery. Imagine if you had a city as vast and amazing as New York as the setting for this journey. Well, that privilege has been given to my roommates and I want this podcast to serve as a documentation of our walk down Discovery Road over the course of this semester. As we learn about ourselves and each other, you will have the chance to reflect on your own self-discovery. After all, our generation is one marked by identity crisis. So why wouldn't we take the time to learn about ourselves together? In order to get to know someone, you have to know where they come from. So the first thing I want to do is get a little background information on my roommates and I. Although background information may seem tedious, it's incredibly pertinent. As my roommates and I tell you a bit about where we came from, start to think about what you may or may not have in common with us. Our backgrounds cover a wide span of diversity, so I'm sure you can relate to and identify with one of us. Well, I'm going to start with myself. I was born and raised in Richmond, Virginia. Shout out to RVA. My parents split when I was 5, so my mom raised my 3 siblings and myself. I give her a lot of credit for that because we didn't have a lot of money growing up. But somehow she always made sure we had more than what we needed. My mom is actually my hero, and my siblings are amazing. I have 2 older sisters and a younger brother that I refer to as my twin. They're all so great. Obviously, I'm Black, and for the longest time I used to resent that. But now I am proud to identify as African American. My family and I have been through hell, but being strong and overcoming are a part of the African American heritage, and no one can ever take that away from us. So I'm a Christian. The service I attend at school is Protestant, and I'm happy with that. To be completely honest, I don't really like the politics of religion. I know that the God that I serve loves me and has carried me through thick and thin. I can proudly say that I am in love with Jesus Christ, and even through my shortcomings, I yearn to be closer to him. Now let me introduce you to my roommates. First, we have Karina Banda living in the first single in our apartment. The second single is occupied by myself. Next, we have Adamike Fox. However, everyone just calls her Nikki. Then we have Gabriella Polsinelli, or Gabby for short. Nikki and Gabby are roommates. Last but certainly not least, we have Francesca Pamukian, also known as Franny. She lives out of our family room, and for some crazy reason or another, she's pretty happy to do so. Now, I'm gonna let each of my roommates give a little background information about themselves. Let's start with Karina.
Well, originally I was born in Mexico, but when I was 2, I moved to Chicago. So right now, that's where I'm living, Chicago. So I'm 100% Mexican, even though I don't look it. But since I was born there, I identify myself way more as a Mexican than other people that were born here, because I was born over there, and to me it's like something special. Since like I am an immigrant, my parents don't really have, you know, like really big jobs. My dad's a butcher at this meat packing factory, and my mom works in Target and also works part-time selling Avon. And then my sister, who's 5 years older than me, she right now is a toddler teacher. For me, religion isn't something that I'm into, so I just say agnostic, so that I don't hurt like anyone's feelings or anything. I just say agnostic.
I'm from Carbondale, Illinois. My dad is a white American, and his ancestors are from Russia and Germany and Austria, so all European. And my mom is from Nigeria, so I identify with both cultures. I would say they both equally make up who I am. I have a little sister. She's 3 years younger than me, and my dad is a literature professor at Southern Illinois University. My mom, she's the director of a community college. So yeah. I was raised religious. My mom is a Christian and her father is a minister. My dad is, I guess, agnostic. So me personally, I would say that I'm more spiritual than religious. So I haven't really figured out exactly what I believe in yet.
I am originally from Hamilton, New Jersey, but I moved to Bordentown, New Jersey, so I'm a Jerseyan. I consider myself white and I'm Italian, so how I really don't identify with my Italian culture besides I just like the food. Really, there's no special thing about being Italian. I have 2 younger sisters, and my mother is a dance teacher. She teaches specifically ballet, and my dad is a network operations manager, but he was a history teacher for a few years and a technology teacher. Jillian and Lexi are my younger sisters. Jillian's 13, Alexis is 11. They'll be they have their birthday soon, so do I. So I'm Roman Catholic, so I express it through following a lot of the traditional, like, do Lent, give up something for it, try to go to church as much as you can, be a good person. I think my religion is just more about, I think it as just a kind of like thing about being a good person.
I'm from California, Whittier, born and raised.
Yep.
Basically, it's easy. I'm 100% Armenian. I mean, my family, my mom and dad, my grandma and grandpa, they were all born in Ethiopia, which is in Africa. I don't know if I said that. And my parents, they moved out here when they were around like 11, 12. But we're Armenian full-blooded, and I think it was like after the genocide that a lot of Armenians moved to Ethiopia, so that's why there's like a random group there. But yeah, Armenian was my first language. That's it. My mom, well, both my parents are currently self-employed. My mom, she turned our garage into a studio, and she does nails. And she has like clients that she's known for like all her life. And she also does like interior design, and together they do staging. But that's also TBD because our current situation is a little funky. But I also have a brother. He's 12, and we did not usually get along when we were younger, but now that we're getting older, I think our relationship's like becoming more mature, and he's like we're like making more of an effort to like hang out and stuff. So I'm a Christian, but I think that's always misinterpreted because there's so many different kinds of religions and branches, and people say like, what kind of Christian? I'm like, all that matters is my relationship with Jesus, and I think that's what the most important thing about being a Christian is your personal journey with, you know, Jesus. And like, if you believe that he died for you and that he's your savior, then yeah, you're a Christian. Like, it's as easy as that. And the basis of that religion, I think, is love, and I think love is in its way its own religion, so I follow that throughout my life.
As you can see, we all grew up pretty differently than one another. This is what initially got me interested in creating a podcast on the topic of 5 girls living in one apartment. I thought to myself, how can 5 completely different people manage to live together, nonetheless build relationships with one another? But I am a firm believer that there is something that unites each of us to one another and to all you viewers out there. You know what we need? A party break. Here's a few clips of us just hanging out and partying around New York City. I think of this as our transition period between studying in Rochester to moving to New York City. I mean, think about it. What would your stereotypical college kid do immediately upon arriving to the big city? Consider this an intermission of complete foolishness. Baby.
What flavor?
Just went on a crazy adventure with this girl right here. We took this subway here, the 1 train, all the way to the Bronx. This is my first trip to the Bronx, so obviously I had to make a video of it. So I had to make a video of everything.
And it's not bad. It's not
It's not bad. There's a lot of sexy Latino people up here, and you know that's my thing. So, shouts out to the Bronx and shouts out to Adventures. One thing we learned pretty quickly is that we each like to have a good time in slightly different ways. How exactly do each of us like to party? I like to think of it on a scale of 1 to 10, or better known as Gabby to Karina.
I think one of the best times we actually had was going to the Brooklyn Bazaar. I think that was really cool because we got to see some music, but we had some good food, and we got to go kind of go around, mini golf. But the one thing I really do like about being in New York is I love going to the galleries, and I love going to the museums. So I've gotten a chance to go visit a few galleries, and my intern person, Luca, actually suggested a few galleries I go to when I wasn't at his studio, so that was really cool. That's one of my favorite things about New York is going into the galleries.
So coming here before the semester started, I was really worried that my other roommates wouldn't be able to handle me. When I do party, I do go all out. For me, I like raves. I like EDM scenes. So that's why I like to party. For me, those are the moments that the party's the best.
Hanging out with one another, whether it included a party scene or not, is what opened the door to us getting to really know each other. It started to hit us. We will each be living with 4 girls that are outside of our normal group of friends, so we better make the best of it. Now that our time here is almost over, we have a pretty solid impression of one another. Throughout the semester, we began to not only understand, but to also relate to each other. For example, we all believe that Karina and I are very similar. Karina and I both come from lower middle class minority families, which allows us to view life through a different lens than our other roommates. Nikki and Franny also found that they were a lot alike.
Oh my Nikki, where to start? Well, Nikki and I, we get along very well. I can't even talk, I guess we're wifeys. She's gonna be my roommate during the summer, so I'm really excited because, I don't know, we just get along, we talk, we have similar interests.
Although we lead incredibly different lives, there are times where we are all home at the same time. I think we learn the most about ourselves and each other during those times. Therefore, I set up and recorded a group interview amongst us all. The individual interviews were a good assessment of us on an individual basis, but like I said, we learn best together. The question quickly became, how is New York City shaping us on our road to self-discovery? And we shared those responses with one another. As we express these answers to each other, and to you as the viewer, begin to think what person, place, or thing is currently shaping you in your life right now. Is it an intensive course load or a new relationship? Maybe it's a drastic change in your family or just growing up in general. Whatever it is, think about how it is influencing your actions and movements towards self-discovery. I guess New York City confirms that there are people as crazy as I am. That's always something that's nice to know. because then you feel like you belong somewhere?
I guess I've discovered myself by just seeing what I actually want to do. I'm not sure if I want to be an artist like Aluka is, who's the person I'm interning for, but I'm not sure yet. It's just helping me discover like what I like and what I don't like.
I think New York has given me like the opportunity to actually chase after the things. Just I've been taking a lot more risks and doing things I wouldn't do, I feel like, if I was back home.
One way of discovering myself is through my internship. I kind of know now what I want to do, like for real in the future. And before, I was always having like these like back ideas, like in case it didn't work out. But now I know like it'll work out.
This is actually the first place that I feel like I actually belong. And I think that's because, like I said in my individual interview, that it's like a really dynamic city. It's like always changing, and there's like endless things to do here. And I'm the type of person who needs to like always be doing something different.
No matter how much we grow, there will always be setbacks. There's really no way to sugarcoat that. There will always be things from our past holding us back from moving forward, or self-consciously lingering in our present and influencing the decisions we make today. I'm not using this video as a psych evaluation for my roommates, so I'll use myself as an example in this case, only because I can't really get mad at myself for assessing my own psyche. During the group interview, I posed a question to everyone. What would you tell 5-year-old you? I would tell 5-year-old me that, like, you're your own best friend because, like, everyone else is gonna suck eventually. And that you just have to, like, be strong and confide in yourself no matter what situation you're in. I felt like a complete robot saying all that. I'm so desensitized to my own life at this point because I've just been through too much. It's impossible to feel all the negativity placed in front of me since I was a kid, so in comes my self-defense mechanisms with their numbing capabilities. Because of what I've been through, I have trust issues like you wouldn't believe and often find myself struggling to maintain healthy interpersonal relationships. But how am I supposed to move forward if I'm stuck in the past? We witness our lives all day, every day, 24/7. There's no escaping it. Because we can't stop being ourselves, it's hard for us to see the larger picture at times. We need others in our lives to step in and give us a rundown on the perspective of our lives and situations from the outside looking in. During the group interview, I asked everyone to give advice to each one of the lovely young women sitting before them. We each needed that outside perspective. Here's a few clips from the results of that conversation.
I would say, don't be. I know you're like confused on what you want to do for your like major and stuff, like, but you're good at fashion. You have a good personality. You need to be with people. Don't get locked away in a desk for 7 hours a day. Be out there with people. Be trying to do something that not only are you doing something meaningful with people, but you're trying to make a difference. Like your homework podcast. Like you have a big heart. Don't let people take advantage of it, but use it.
To Karina, I'm gonna say that I understand that you're on like your independent grind and that you're like out looking for success because like that's why your parents brought you. But remember, even past college, to continue having fun. Maybe not in the same like way that you have fun now. Maybe, I don't know, maybe that could be you. It's just like also like remember to like take breaks and to like be chill in life. When we can begin to understand how those who genuinely care about our well-being and success seize the projection of our life, true development occurs. We gain the ability to step outside of ourselves and into growth. I know this because of some of the advice my roommates gave me. Take a listen.
Well, I know that like you've told us more than once that like we'll never really know you, right? And I feel like that is something that a lot of people feel. So take it as you will.
You're not alone. Keep doing you, but sometimes like just learn to, I guess, let go of things and take things like more lightly, so that you can appreciate some parts of like life more. That's my advice.
You know how many people have told me to let things go more often so that I can enjoy the here and now? A shit ton. A shit ton of my closest friends and family have told me that, but it took the voices of individuals who I just met to resonate with me in my stubborn outer shell. I mean, come on, they've only known me for 3.5 months. I thought to myself, damn, if these girls who I thought barely knew me know that I need to just let shit go, then I probably should really focus on just letting shit go. My sincere hope is that each of my roommates also got a piece of advice that night that found a home in their hearts. I hope that they're watching this video right now reflecting on the past semester and the incredible impact it had on their lives. I hope that all of you viewers can relate to at least one aspect or another of the 5 lives laid out before you, and that you really start finding the right people, places, and things to aid you in your road to self-discovery. It's incredibly freeing, I can promise you that. In conclusion, yeah, we're different, but we're on the same road to happiness. This semester, I've learned things from these 4 women that I would not have learned otherwise. I saw 4 completely different walks of life from my own, and I admire each and every one of them. This is our life in the city, guys. This is real life. These are experiences that we will carry back with us to Rochester and beyond. And I encourage you to get out there and have your very own New York City experience.